Most maps do not acknowledge Somaliland, yet for over 3 decades it has quietly continued to exist, left out of the international spotlight but steadily building a peaceful and democratic society. Located in the Horn of Africa in northwest Somalia, Somaliland borders Djibouti, Ethiopia and the Gulf of Aden. Although not internationally recognized, it has strengthened its case for independence through self-governance and stability. Somaliland was once British Somaliland. It gained brief independence in 1960 before joining the former Italian Somalia to form the Somali Republic. But the union proved unequal, with most power remaining in the south. In 1969, after President Shamaki's assassination, Said Barre seized power, suspended the constitution and arrested political leaders. After a failed invasion of Ethiopia in 1977, Barre's regime became increasingly oppressive, especially towards the north. Roads, schools and hospitals in Somaliland were left to decay, while services and funds were redirected to the south. In 1981, the Somali National Movement launched armed resistance in the north. This led to the Isaaq genocide, a mass atrocity targeting the Isaaq people, a key clan in Somaliland. Tens of thousands of civilians were killed. After Barre fled Somalia in 1991, the SNM declared Somaliland's independence. In 2001, 97% of voters approved a constitutional referendum establishing a multi-party system. Since then, Somaliland has maintained relative stability, operating with its own currency, army, parliament and court, and peaceful transitions between presidents. Our In Context contact confirms that Somaliland is currently politically stable, with the new president enjoying strong public support. However, ongoing clan-related tensions persist in the eastern regions. Somaliland continues to push for international recognition, which would allow it to join global institutions, sign treaties and access aid. In 2024, it signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Ethiopia, offering port access in exchange for possible future recognition. Talks with US President Donald Trump and American defense officials have also reportedly made progress, particularly concerning the strategic port of Berbera. Despite limited resources, Somaliland currently hosts nearly 23,000 refugees. Officials highlight the country's Muslim identity and hospitality as sources of safety and integration for displaced people. Yet they also acknowledge that formal recognition would allow for better, more structured support, possibly even for future Palestinian refugees. Somaliland's borders reflect those it held in 1960 during its brief independence as British Somaliland, reinforcing its historical claim to statehood. But social challenges persist. One of the biggest political challenges Somaliland faces is the lack of international recognition, our contact shares. Socially and economically, the lack of opportunity for youth combined with the harmful effects of social media is deeply concerning. He adds that while the economy is relatively stable, youth unemployment is high. Jobs are often given to relatives of those in power. Many young people spend their days online with little structure, exposed to harmful content, and become physically and emotionally weak. Somaliland's constitution declares Islam the state religion. Only Muslims may hold national office. Its political and legal systems are based on Sunni Shafi Islam and Sharia law, shaping a national identity rooted in religious tradition. But this unity leaves little space for religious minorities. Christianity is practiced in secret. Converts and foreign Christians often hide their faith for safety. Sharing or promoting any other religion is banned. There is an almost insurmountable fear factor, our contact explains. Becoming a Christian as a Somali is viewed extremely negatively. Society sees it as betrayal. Due to anti-Christian propaganda, even family members often respond with aggression. There is a death penalty under Islamic law for apostasy, so converts risk their lives if their faith becomes known. Foreign Christians may be tolerated if they don't share the gospel, but Somali believers are at great risk. If they're financially dependent, they may be cut off. If they are influential, they may face assassination. The underground church faces immense challenges. The greatest need is freedom, especially for Somalis. Fear paralyzes many believers. Most cannot meet in person and receive discipleship only through the internet, which lacks real-life community. Financial dependence on external donors also causes division in secret fellowships. Still, there is hope. What we truly need is for Somali believers to be convicted and filled with the Holy Spirit to overcome fear and walk in God's power, he says. The global church can help by praying and by equipping believers with vocational skills. Some of this training is happening in Ethiopia and Kenya, where it's safer. Somaliland is one of the least reached areas in the world with almost no open Christian presence. But as 1 Timothy 2 verse 1-4 reminds us, prayer is our first mission for leaders, for peace and for people to live in godliness and holiness. Somaliland's story is one of resilience. The underground church mirrors that same quiet strength, unseen but enduring. For the global church, this is a call not only to care but to obey, to remember Somaliland, to pray and to prepare the way for the Lord, even in the most overlooked places. Please pray with us for peace and political stability in Somaliland, especially in the eastern regions. Pray that leaders govern with wisdom and compassion, and that the international recognition would bring justice, development, and better care for refugees. For the underground church, especially Somali converts, to be filled with the Holy Spirit, stand firm in faith, grow in unity despite persecution, and find freedom from fear and rejection as new Spirit-led communities form. For Somaliland's youth facing high unemployment, lack of direction, and harmful influences, ask God to provide vocational training, mentorship, and renewed hope and purpose. For the gospel to take root across Somaliland, pray for open hearts and that those discipling secretly or online are equipped, protected, and fruitful.